This is Lawyer Cliff, and today we're watching the videos on the judge's shooting in Kentucky. So let's take a look.
County, Kentucky. The locals call this part of the country Appalachia. It's a place where folks get to know each other because there just aren't a ton of people living here. That community gets even smaller when you talk about the criminal justice system. Public defenders can become prosecutors who can become judges. People who are relay marriage can be on opposing sides inside the courtroom. And people seem to get along with it and figure it all out. It's just the way things are. That's why no one suspected anything violent or dangerous was going to happen when the local judge, Kevin Mullins, and the sheriff, Mickey Stunts, had a closed-door private meeting inside the judge's chambers. But what happened inside there, no one in this small town expected. The sheriff asking the judge for his phone, then making a call from that phone, then shooting and killing the judge.
If you like videos like this, go ahead and click the like button below, and we can get this out to more people just like you. So that phone call is likely going to be critical evidence. Who did he call? What did he say? And was the phone call the result, was it the reason why he killed the judge? I think 2 days ago we have the actual video.
Shocking new video of the murder of a Kentucky judge caught on tape and shown in court. Judge Kevin Mullins gunned down in his office allegedly by his friend, Sheriff Mickey Stunts. So we're not going to show you the moment. We've paused it.
Because I don't know if we can say allegedly he was shot. We have the video. The question is, was it murder? And we're going to have the trial and find out. But he clearly shot the judge. They're not going to actually show the actual event of the shooting, but this is clearly as close as it can be. So the judge is trying to say, no, don't shoot me. And the sheriff is just bearing down on him right here. So let's see what else we got.
Probable cause to send the case to a grand jury. Kelsey Kernstein joins us now. Kelsey, this is hard to watch even with the video on pause. What's been the reaction to this footage?
The reaction, of course, has really been shock, Marky. So some inside the courthouse even crying as this video was played. Now, prosecutors, they say it clearly shows former Sheriff Sean Mickey Stunts shooting the judge, Kevin Mullins, several times as he covers his face and tries to hide under his desk. We do really want to warn you here that this video is disturbing. New video allegedly shows the moments leading up to a deadly encounter inside Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers. We see the judge holding out his hands as Sheriff Mickey Stunts appears to raise and point his gun at Judge Mullins. And this is when the shooting begins. We will not show those moments.
I wonder if they can read the judge's lips. Yeah, it looks like he's trying to talk to him. It looks like he's maybe trying to, I don't know. I'm sure he wasn't expecting this to happen. The other question is, why is there a camera right here? It makes you think, right? Do judges have cameras in their courtrooms all the time? That seems a little bit odd to me. Was the camera put there on purpose because the judge was in fear of this type of thing happening? Certain judges, I'm sure, have cameras, certain judges don't. It probably just depends on the courthouse, how high of a risk it is, and maybe the specific judge, if the judges had threats against their life or something like that, as to whether or not they're gonna have cameras in there. You might think that the judge would have cameras, like all judges have cameras, because people would be upset with their rulings, then come into the courthouse and this kind of an issue happens. But you got to know that the judges are already behind typically pretty serious security, where you're going to have metal detectors, security guards right at the entrance of everything. And then there's another system where all the judges' doors are locked. You typically have to go through a locked door. Then the judicial assistant is kind of policing the door, letting people in through a code. There's an intercom system, and then a judge is behind that. So they have their own ways to typically enter and exit the courthouse. So it's a very much a structured system to protect the judge. And then to have a camera in the judge's chambers additionally, not all judges are going to do that. Is that backpack? Is that oh, there's backpacks, and they're just, so the judges, interestingly enough, there's two backpacks there. I wonder what's going on here, Is that somebody else's backpack? Obviously the judge probably isn't gonna have two backpacks. So is that the sheriff's backpack? Is that for an attorney? What's going on here with the backpacks? I've never seen a judge wear a backpack. That's why I'm curious. I've seen a lot of judges walking to and from court, 0 backpacks. So maybe it's just something specifically that this judge does, or the courthouse has happened here. I love backpacks. Nothing against backpacks. Great way to carry documents, but usually you don't wear backpacks to the courthouse. Sheriff's office, that's a little more tactical. You might be able to, have things like a gun in a backpack. But for me, what I see typically is briefcases, which it looks like a 3rd backpack or 4th backpack, or even underneath the desk, now that I'm looking at this. And this is a weird office as well. It kind of looks like it's kind of, I don't know what to say it. It looks like a temporary office. It doesn't look like he's been in this office for very long, to me. It doesn't look very homey. Yeah, there's a desk, which probably came with the office, a chair that came with the office. There's a quilt in the back, and his something like maybe the state constitution or something like that on the wall. Some kind of I don't know what that is in the window, but yeah, it doesn't look very homey. Like the judges that I've been in their offices, it's like they go all out decorating it. Maybe it's different for this judge. Just all things to think about. All things to think about with this judge is what's the going on? What's the scenario here? I'm not sure what the gold things are at the bottom. It's like a wheel, maybe to like haul documents around or something like that. Interesting to see what all this is going to play out, and hopefully that we see a trial. With the sheriff's office and the judge's office, I would think, I would hope that they would have this as a public trial.
Because of the graphic nature. It happened late last month, and former Sheriff Steins quit right after his arrest. He's been in jail ever since. In court where the video was played, the only witness called was Kentucky State lead investigator Clayton Stamper, who testified that 4 witnesses heard the shooting in the next room.
One person stated that she didn't recognize him as being Judge Mullins' voice, but heard somebody say, "Help, help."
According to Steins' attorneys, the 2 met for lunch near the courthouse that day. In the video not shown in court, Sheriff Steins uses his cell phone to call his daughter, then uses a judge's phone to call his daughter again before the shooting. Investigators are waiting for data from the phones to determine what relevance it has to the case. Investigators are also looking into a sexual harassment lawsuit against the sheriff's office. So what's happening right now is both cell phones are undergoing forensic testing. Sheriff Steins could face up to 20 years or up to life in prison. Now, this is interesting. According to Kentucky state law, because he's been accused of killing a public official, he could face the death penalty. There
are certain murders that can be essentially upgraded. It's like you're going to be punished more severely. One of those would be killing a public official, where in Kentucky, they have the death penalty, and that murder would fall under something that would get him to be qualified for the death penalty. And did you hear that he called his daughter? Did the phone die and then he needed to use the judge's phone, or was that part of something else? Interesting. Yeah, what was he saying to the daughter? Now, what I want to see more of is what was going on. Why is he being arrested? Obviously, here's his mugshot. So he was recently arrested, and what for? They said there was sexual harassment allegations, or there's a lawsuit for the sexual harassment for the sheriff's office. They didn't get into any details about that. Is that what he was arrested for? It didn't seem like it, but he's clearly arrested for something, and that's what I'm curious to know. And how did that play a factor in the judge's alleged murder? And they're saying something about fines. I didn't catch that either, but they did mention something about fines. And for whatever happened, he was going to have to pay some fines. I'm sure they're going to testify. She'll testify at the trial, the daughter, or give some kind of a declaration beforehand of what she's going to testify to or what the phone call was about. For more True Crime with Lawyer Cliff, go in and click the video right over my shoulder, and True Crime continues.